A mentoring relationship is different to that of a friendship. However, there are some similarities. A way that we can easily summarize our relationship with mentees is friendly but not friends. Mentoring and friendship relationships share commonalities such as trust, warmth, sharing of experiences, and experiencing similar situations, as well as the relationship being mutually enjoyable, open, and humour is involved. Although there are many similarities, a mentoring relationship is also different to a friendship. Mentoring has a specific purpose. We focus on the mentee, not on ourselves as a mentor. Mentors maintain objectivity and distance. Mentors do not become super invested in their mentees. There is also a power imbalance. So, specific boundaries that we have: we don't give our personal details or details of others to a mentee. We don't give or loan money to a mentee. We don't engage in intrusive conversations. We don't offer to drive mentees home. We avoid high-risk activities with mentees, and we don't try to deal with a crisis situation with a mentee by yourself. If you are in a crisis situation, you need to let security and the mentors team know as soon as possible. Now that I've explained some boundaries that we have, why do we have such boundaries? Well, we ultimately do not know the new students that you are dealing with. We don't know what they're capable of and what their past experiences are. So we really have these boundaries in place to protect you, especially in regard to the online space. We cannot stop any communication that happens online via Facebook, for example. Although we know every mentee is a new student, we cannot guarantee that they are not a threat to you or to anyone else. So follow our boundaries and guidelines and you will be protected. You may wonder how you will first meet your mentees or how you will build on your first meeting for a stronger relationship. We always encourage that you be yourself. Be honest with flaws and weaknesses rather than the perfect role model. And this is really important, especially when you first meet your mentees. It really builds this sense of trust. So you may want to think about how you will initially engage with your mentees. Make eye contact and address the mentee directly when you first meet. Shake their hand, and if you and they are comfortable with doing this. Don't hold eye contact if they are uncomfortable in doing so. You can walk and talk or get a drink as you chat. Be yourself and act in a way that is genuine. For example, don't use slang you wouldn't normally use. Smile and be friendly. Ask open-ended questions and tell them a little bit about yourself. Nod and encourage their answers. A mentoring relationship has to start and end somewhere. So I will be taking you through the 3 stages of what we see in the Macquarie University Mentors program. It's important to realise that these stages are only a guide and different relationships evolve in different ways. The first stage that we see is what we call connect. The beginning of any relationship is often awkward, and mentoring relationships are no exception. Your first few encounters will focus on getting to know each other, exploring similar interests, discussing expectations, and starting to form norms and bonds that will shape the rest of your first session together. During this phase, it's important for mentors to ask open-ended questions, use open body language, and not to be afraid of silence. Silence is important to gather thoughts and reflect on what is being discussed, so don't be afraid of it. The second stage is what we call grow, and in this stage, trust and a bond has been established, so the mentor and mentee are comfortable in relating to one another. It is during this phase that mentors can use the trust they have built to move their mentees along the developmental pathway, asking them to think about goals or to try new things. Mentees may test your knowledge and question you. When mentors reach this stage, you must be prepared to maintain professionalism. So during this exploring and navigating phase, advise the mentee how they can actively solve their problems and make sure you give them some positive feedback. The third stage that we see is what we call transition. The transition towards closing a mentoring relationship can be a difficult time for both mentors and mentees. There may be many strong feelings about the match ending, and it is important to not let the process of ending the match negate the many positives it provided not only to the mentee but to you as well. And you will develop throughout the whole experience, so be proud of what you have achieved. As the end of your match approaches, work really closely with your mentee to make sure that the transition leaves the mentee feeling positive and fulfilled from the experience of being involved in our program. The transition phase may occur earlier in the program than anticipated for some of your mentees. Do not be disheartened if your mentees are not constantly contacting you. This is a good thing. It usually means that your mentees are coping by themselves with university, which is our goal. In this phase, it is important to provide feedback to your mentees that describes their growth you have observed, and be prepared to listen and acknowledge the mentees' fears that they may have about moving forward independently.